Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Stacy. If you're new here, welcome in. If you're coming back, I'm glad to have you. Let's talk about things that we've been hearing on the internet that make us scared as nurses. I've been thinking about it a lot. If you like what you see here and you want to see more, then I ask that you like, subscribe, and follow. And if you have any suggestions, then I recommend that you leave them to me in the comments and we can talk about other things that you're curious about. So I have been watching in social media a lot of things that are happening in the nursing world. Do you ever, as a nurse, feel like you just want to get out of nursing sometimes because of the way that it's going? And that's not to say that you don't love your job or the people that you work with or those sorts of things, but just in the world in general, in the culture that we live in the healthcare system that we are experiencing in this world, do you ever just look at it and go, oh my God, I need to get out? Now, I've been doing nursing for over 20 years. Well over 20 years. And I've seen a lot of changes. I've seen a lot of stories. I've seen a lot of things. And I was just watching another creator talk about a whole bunch of people that passed the NCLEX that had fake nursing licenses. I mean, that's scary to think about, right? That is one thing that scares me. Like, you don't know if your coworker is truly legit if they passed the NCLEX, but they really didn't get a nursing diploma. Like, I feel like nursing school is a rite of passage, okay? I suppose people could study for the NCLEX and pass those questions. I don't really know what that entails. It's been a long time since I've taken the NCLEX. I would love to give tips and tricks about that, but it's been a long time since I've taken the NCLEX, and they've come out with many different books and study guides and things like that. So I want to think that you couldn't pass the NCLEX without going through the nursing program, but I'm hearing differently, and it's frightening to me. I was watching, it's another nurse, her name's Lindsay. I love her content. I just want to put that out there. I think it's Lindsay Shelton. I think she's an amazing creator and nurse, and I enjoy her content thoroughly. But she had a live going on talking about that, and it got me really thinking about, what if the people you're working with don't have a degree? What if they really don't know what the hell they're doing? I mean, it seems that way sometimes, right? Like, sometimes when you're working with people, there's one thing to be new, right? And you've been crammed all this information. Now you have to put it into practice. I feel like it's one thing to be inexperienced and have the knowledge, and another thing to come in and play with someone's life with no knowledge. And I think we're seeing evidence of that with things like overdoses of medication, like astronomical overdoses of medication. I mean, in nursing school, it's heavy on the check, question. So I don't know how these things are happening. You know, when I see the things that are happening in healthcare, I am astonished. And when I have encountered people who are supposed to be at the same level as me that don't know the basics, it makes you wonder. It does. Now, that's not to say we all know everything. As we all know, in nursing, I mean, you use what you need and you kind of put aside what you don't. I couldn't tell you anything about the meds that are hanging in the ICU. I mean, if you name them to me, I probably know what their function is because I've, done hospice and been around, seen those meds on the list and spoken with those nurses. But as a general rule, I wouldn't know anything about titration. I wouldn't know anything about pushing anything. I wouldn't know anything about those things. Because I don't do that. That's not my lane at all. And I feel like that's another thing. Every time that I've started something new in nursing, I have had to learn how to do it. I did long-term care. I feel like that doesn't change too much. I mean, the medications that we use, the guidelines, those things tend to change a little bit. But generally, I understand that road very well. I know that lane. I did a little stint in dermatology, and oh my God, that was like being on another planet, and it was amazing. I'm glad I got to do it, but it is totally a specialized field, and I would be lost if I tried to tell you about it today. I know you should wear sunscreen. That's what I know. Wear your sunscreen. The other thing is, I'm in hospice, and so I feel like that is my lane. I know that lane. But again, some things are basic, and they go across the board, and I feel like we should all know those basic things. And when you don't know those things, it's frightening when you work with people who don't know those things. It's frightening, the world that we're living in. We are dependent as human beings, as patients, on our nurses and our doctors to be knowledgeable in what they're giving. If I don't know something, I'm going to research it because I want to know. I would never give something without knowing what it's for and why it's being given and what the correct dosage range is. And if I saw an astronomical dose or questioned a dose, you can bet your butt that I'm calling a doctor. I'm calling a doctor and saying, hey, I just want to clarify with you, did you really mean to give this dose of medication? Because that is what we get trained to do as nurses. We're advocating for our patients. We are, we're supposed to be knowledgeable in what we're administering to them, and we are supposed to make sure that the order is accurate every time. Every time that we're giving a medication, if you go away for 2 days and you come back, you still need to look at the MAR, review it every time, and look and make sure it's correct every time because things change. We get in a habit, especially in long-term care, for example. You get in a habit of giving the same dose, but things like warfarin change. PT-INRs are done and we hold those medicines and those medicines get changed frequently. So it's just really important that you're always looking at what you're doing. And if you don't know to do that, then I'm going to assume you did not have the instructor that I had in nursing school. Because I'm going to tell you, I sweat bullets when I was in nursing school trying to get through and make sure. You could fail out because of a med pass gone wrong. So to see people coming out and not knowing the basics is frightening to me. The other thing is the level of violence that seems to be acceptable in the world. I personally feel that I have been supported in any job that I've worked at where an aggressive patient is concerned, and I feel like that's a win. I feel like if your company and your management doesn't take you seriously, that's a problem. So important. If someone tells you that someone's being aggressive or you're experiencing aggression, I think it's important that we don't treat patients like that is acceptable. It's not acceptable. It's one thing to have a patient with dementia that pinches you or yells at you, because I'm just going to tell you, when you're taking care of patients with dementia, they will match your energy and you have to approach them a certain way, and it really takes a certain kind of person. And someday they're going to have a bad day and you're going to walk away and not continue to try to provide that care because they will continue to escalate. But I will tell you that I've been in big hospitals whenever a security situation is happening, and I have seen those security teams respond pretty quickly. So for me, when I see hospitals where security is not responding and protecting their staff, I think that's a problem when we don't see our nurses as valuable. It scares me to keep working in healthcare knowing. I had a boss tell me many years ago that I was replaceable. Not me personally. She said it in a meeting to all of us. You're all replaceable. I have a stack of applications and I can hire somebody to replace you. And that is when I learned that I didn't matter as a nurse to my company in the long run. Now, that's not to say that I'm experiencing these things in my current line of work. What I'm saying is I have experienced these things, and I feel that that's a general attitude that many nurses have experienced at their job. To have an employer, a boss, someone you respect, tell you that you don't matter and you can be replaced makes you not want to give the same effort you would give if you were appreciated and respected. I think respect goes a long way. People are not replaceable. If someone quits, it puts everybody in a bind. If you fire somebody, it makes everything challenging until there is a replacement. Nurses aren't coming in and just taking jobs and swooping in. We might have a stack of applications, but we don't have a lot of takers sometimes, So it is really important that you value the staff that you have and try to make it work. Now, that's not to say that sometimes a nurse and a manager are not going to fit well together, and some people are not going to fit well into certain companies and areas. Obviously, we don't fit in everywhere. Okay, and I'm not saying that there's not personality conflicts in working environments. I'm not saying that people don't ever need disciplinary action. You know, what I'm saying is it's important that your staff feels respected and valued and protected. We should feel protected. We are on the same team, and if you are not protecting me, I'm assuming we're not the teammates that I thought we were. Again, these are just things that I've been seeing, all the violence, all the disgruntled nurses. I mean, you know, people are walking out, people are protesting, people are going on strike, and you know, sometimes it's necessary. Thankfully, I have not been in a situation to experience that, but I know what being a disgruntled employee looks like, and I know what it looks like to work in a company where you don't feel valued. I have been in those situations throughout my career, and I can tell you that you're happier and you're more willing to give if you are being appreciated and respected. And you have to give respect as an employee too. You can't just come in and demand respect if you're not giving it. But as far as like the violence and things like that go, I don't think we should allow our patients to behave that way. I don't think it should be tolerable. I'm going to say my piece on this. I don't think it's acceptable to allow a patient to abuse a staff member. It's not acceptable, and we can't make it acceptable anymore. We have come to a place sometimes in healthcare where we are not valuing the people who are giving the care more than we value the patient that's in the bed. Now, our patients are valuable, they're important, they deserve great care. But if you are being belligerent as a patient, if you are being abusive to your nurse, if you are being unreasonable, it should not be accepted. It shouldn't be a norm, and it shouldn't be accepted. We shouldn't be allowing those people to continue to bully our nurses. That's my piece on that. The other thing that I see a lot is, I've talked about this before in a video, social media. We have to be careful what we say on social media. We have to be careful how we portray ourselves, because yes, you can be fired from your job. I've seen a lot of nurses lately talk about being fired from their job. I will tell you that you shouldn't take a video in your place of work. You shouldn't do it. Don't take a video of yourself administering medications. Don't take a video of yourself in the hallway in a common area. You shouldn't be on social media when you're on the clock and not on your break. You know, those are things. And most companies, when you sign all that paperwork, do say to you, we can fire you whenever we want. It's an at-will company, which means they can let you go. We have to be so careful what we say as nurses, how we portray ourselves. I will tell you that generally, I'm not talking about any job that I'm working in currently on social media. And I'm not going to show you what I'm doing in my day. I see a lot of nurses getting ready. They're in their, you know, in their job with their phone on social media, and that is such a big risk. I think when you're truly giving patient care, that is not the place for social media. Now, in nursing homes, residents sign papers whether they're willing to be on the company's website. You know, the activities director or the social worker or those sorts of things get together. They do activities with the residents, and sometimes they do fun stuff with them, like trendy stuff on social media. And in those cases, it's acceptable because the resident has agreed to participate in that trend. But we should never, ever be putting our vulnerable patients out there for the world to see when we're doing our day-to-day job. It's nobody's business, and it's a HIPAA violation, and it can make you lose your job, and it can get you sued. And that's how I feel about that. It's, for me, talking on a platform is scary, because I think, how can I present this without violating any of my patients? How can I present this without giving any information that's going to be harmful to anybody? You know, we have experiences that can teach. We have experienced things as nurses that are valuable to other nurses. And I think having a platform where we share things and have a conversation is wonderful. But I think it's such a fine line between violation and education. So again, I'm one of those nurses that just doesn't agree with the whole idea of doing your med pass on social media. I know you guys are working hard. I've been where you are, and I know what you're doing, and you're doing a hard job, and you're doing a thankless job sometimes. You're amazing, you long-term care nurses, assisted living workers, but don't post your patients online. Just don't do it. Don't do it, and then don't act surprised if you get fired. Don't do it. Just my little soapbox for the day. But everything on social media, sometimes I see it and I think, is this the career path I want to continue in? I mean, I've been doing it for over 20 years. But sometimes now, in this day and age, I just think, is this really where we want to be in healthcare right now? Have you ever had any experiences that make you question your nursing career? Have you ever encountered something that makes you question nurses that you've worked with? How did you handle that? What were some things that you did? Do you have a social media account? Do you talk about nursing on your social media account? What kind of things do you talk about? Do you respect your patient's privacy? I'd love to talk about it in the comments. If you like what you see here and you want to see more, then I ask that you like, subscribe, and follow. And sometimes it's going to be controversial, but let's talk about it. I hope to see you soon. Thanks for watching.